I want to give a special shout out to the Delaware State University's equestrian team. They are outside. You see them with their horses. We have one of the best equestrian teams in the country. So clap it up for Coach Jen Ridgely and our equestrian team here at Delaware State University. All right, we're going to continue the show. This next brother coming to this next brother coming to the stage. He gave us this farm, and we are in great appreciative of him. He also, what I was told, he is very intense about agriculture. He is so intense, he's retiring after this year. He's going to travel the world being so intense and telling the world about agriculture. So ladies and gentlemen, please show some love as we welcome the department. Oh, excuse me, look, I lost my spot. The Delaware Department of Agriculture Secretary Michael Scoose. I see you, player, I see you.
Well, good morning, everyone. How's everybody today? Wonderful, wonderful. We got a great day here on a great farm, and it's good to see you, and it's a great group here this morning. I want to welcome everybody to the second annual BIPOC Farmers Conference, Keeping the Culture in Agriculture. I'm excited that all of you have the opportunity to experience this conference at the Smyrna Outreach and Education Center, or SORC as we call it. As you travel the farm this morning, look around and take a look at the 192 acres of prime farmland that not only helps produce valuable research to help Delaware's producers, but also helps to engage DSU's agricultural students to learn more hands-on experiences. And let me give you a little history on how this farm came to be. Former Dean of Agriculture Ken Bell and I were riding around one day. I'd like to tell you that we were working, but we were probably goofing off or just riding around looking at the different farms. And Dr. Bell told me, he said, Michael, we need another farm at DSU to do research on. We've outgrown the farm over on Hickory Hill. We could really use another farm. I said, Ken, I'll keep my eye open. Fast forward about 4 months. I got a call from Governor Minter's office and said, there's a farm in Smyrna that's for sale, and the governor does not want it to be developed. We'd like to have it preserved and protected. Light clicked on. I wasn't too slow that day. And I thought back about that conversation that Ken Bell and I had. And they said, would you try to put a deal together to protect that farm? So I called Dr. Bell and I said, I got a farm, but we got to put the money together. So with the help of former Secretary of Transportation Nathan Hayward, with the help of the leadership of DSU, with the help of members of the General Assembly, and with some financial help from Governor Minter's office, that's how we were able to purchase this farm, protect this farm forever, and give it to Delaware State University for research for the students. You know, I look back at you know, I've been around for forever. I didn't help Washington cross the Delaware, as Governor Carney likes to tell people I did. But of the things that we've been able to accomplish at the Department of Agriculture, purchasing this farm for Delaware State University really has been the highlight of my career. This is something that'll be long-lasting for all of you and for the future generations. You know, it's hard to believe my 24 years of service to Delaware agriculture will come to an end in just 69 days. Yes, I am counting down. But by listening, working together, prioritizing our industry to ensure there's a future for agriculture and farm families here in Delaware, we've accomplished so much between the Minter and Carney administrations. And just as a side note, the two beautiful farms that you see right across the road there, my family and I farmed those two farms for 50 years. So farming is in my blood, and I do take it personal. You know, looking back at my time as Secretary of Agriculture in the Minter administration, besides helping fund this farm, Delaware's Farmland Preservation License Plate was designed and made available so that Delawareans purchasing the plate could help preserve farmland throughout the state. We created the Forest Land Preservation Program to preserve forest land properties and manage timber production. State funding dried up, unfortunately, while I was in Washington, D.C., but when I returned, I worked to reinstate the program in 2019. Between the Minter and Carney administrations, the program purchased 20 forest land easements on more than 1,650 acres and another 2,200 acres in the 10-year forest program. And another 40,600 acres are protected through our Ag Lands Preservation Program. In 2004, Delaware and Maryland were hit with low-path avian influenza. And I think this is a really great example how working together you can get things done. You know, here in Delaware and Maryland and Virginia on the peninsula, we do not recognize borders between states. The three states, secretaries of agriculture, we all consider this to be one. So we were in the middle of fighting an economic animal health disaster. We formed a unified command between Delaware, Maryland, USDA, APHIS, and key stakeholders to quickly eradicate the low-path AI at the time, with 2 farms here in Delaware and the 1 farm in Maryland. Our quick response to that scenario, that situation, prompted USDA to adopt the things that we did here in Delaware, Maryland, and Virginia and make them nationwide. That's how important it was for our industry. Recognizing that we also needed a way to develop the next generation of leaders in production and agribusiness and policy and food and fiber industries, Dr. Robin Morgan from the University of Delaware, Dean of College of Agriculture and Natural Resources at the time, and I teamed up to create Lead Delaware. Lead Delaware has now seated 7 classes of fellows who are making a difference here and throughout the United States. We wanted to create a program that was going to train all of you to be the next generation of leaders that agriculture so desperately needs throughout this country. When leaders meet and brainstorm things that possibly impact Delaware farmers, you know, good things seem to happen when we have these brainstorming sessions. When Ed Key was working in cooperative extension, he and I came together one day and at lunch, and we said, you know, we need a one-stop shop so that our producers can learn about the latest and greatest and get all the credits they need for the different programs such as nutrient management and pesticide. We created the Delaware Ag Week that year, and since that time, we have trained, educated thousands of farmers from all around this region and got the credits that our producers need to help them stay in business. And the next one, and I look forward, I hope to see all of you there, because don't miss it. It is a week of education and great learning experiences for agriculture. The next Ag Week will be at the Delaware State Fairgrounds starting on January 13th and running through January 16th. But one of the most important and impactful pieces of funding that I thought for before I left the post as Delaware Secretary of Agriculture for the first time was to get the Specialty Crop Block Grant Program initiated. And there were 5 of us that worked in Washington, D.C. on Capitol Hill championing that program. And as a result of that program, the Carney administration alone, the department has secured $3.2 million from USDA's Agricultural Marketing Service to support 72 multi-year programs. That program that we started, the Specialty Crop Block Grant, that 5 of us worked real hard in Congress to get passed, now has spent hundreds of millions of dollars for specialty crops, whether it be a small producer or a large producer, to help them grow and market the products that they produce. After the Minter administration, I utilized the knowledge and skills that I honed here in Delaware to hopefully make an impact to improve agriculture and open new markets for not just Delaware farmers, but for farmers across the whole nation. I went to USDA. In my role at USDA, I traveled to, 27 countries and 48 states. Yes, I was on an airplane probably about 3 weeks out of the month to someplace either here in the United States or around the world to advocate for agriculture and for our producers. Even as much as I enjoyed my work at USDA, in 2017 when Governor Carney was elected and brought back as governor, he asked me to serve as Secretary of Agriculture. And trust me, as much as I liked my time in Washington, D.C., I sure did miss Delaware. Yeah, I've traveled all over, but I want to tell you something right now. This is the greatest state in the nation. We've got the best people here, and I look forward to coming home. Now I'm going to take an opportunity to brag. Having been 27 countries and 48 states and working with agriculture departments all across the United States, I want to tell you right now, the Department of Agriculture in the state of Delaware has without a doubt the best staff of any department that I've been to. We have got some really great, hard-working, dedicated people that are there to help make sure that there is a future in agriculture for all of you, and they work very hard day in and day out to make that happen. You know, we recently sat down to look back at the past 8 years, and we were able to categorize our work into 5 main categories: agricultural lands preservation, agricultural and the environment, food access for Delawareans, protecting Delaware agriculture, and supporting agricultural markets. And thanks to the support of Governor Carney and members of the General Assembly, the counties, the farmers, and stakeholders, we have an awful lot to celebrate regarding agricultural lands preservation. In 2018, we were recognized as the first USDA Agriculture Conservation Easement Program certified entity, allowing the program to preserve farms more quickly and eliminate a great deal of the paperwork to make sure that we could get it done faster. In 2020, the American Farmland Trust named Delaware's Ag Program the second most effective ag land preservation program in the whole United States. That's something that we take a great deal of pride at. Now, you're all going to ask, well, if we're number 2, who's number 1? Well, when you cross the big ditch over here and you go to New Jersey, they were ranked number 1. Now, Secretary Fisher won't tell me how much he paid AFT to get that number 1 ranking. I'm still trying to find out so we can get that number 1 ranking. Governor Carney has helped preserve the highest number of farms of any governor. And between Governor Minner and the Governor Carney administrations, we have preserved 40% of Delaware's total farmland, 60% of the program funding, and preserved 670 farms on 63,000 acres. And today we have over 153,000 acres permanently protected and preserved. As a state within the Chesapeake Bay watershed, protecting the environment is essential. Not only do we need to protect the Delaware River and Bay, but we also need to protect our Chesapeake Bay, and we also need to protect our inland bays areas. We've secured funding to invest in cover crops, which help offset farmers' planting costs and in turn reduce agricultural nutrient runoff, improving our water quality. Our staff has successfully found funds for manure relocation, nutrient management planning, and increasing positions within the University of Delaware Extension of Agriculture and Turf for turf management. The Delaware Forest Service, based within the department, also improved the environment by planting over 1 million trees the last 4 years. The governor didn't think we could do that, but we made it a goal when we achieved that. We've reestablished wildlife habitat through sustainable forestry practices, and between both administrations, we issued 583 grants, over $3 million in funding to communities and municipalities to plant trees. As producers upgraded to more environmentally friendly poultry houses, we saw a need to address the abandoned poultry houses that reached the end of their lifespan, and we developed a cost share program to help offset the removal cost of 56 abandoned poultry houses, lessen their environmental impact, and enhance Delaware's rural landscape. We're going to look for some more funding because there's some more out there that we need to get rid of. Early in administration, along with Deputy Secretary Nico Brady, we saw a need to create the Delaware Council on Food and Food Policy to maintain updated knowledge and awareness about food access to opportunities and concerns. The council secured $2 million in ARPA funding to launch the First State Food System Grant Program to improve the capacity, efficiency, and coordination of Delaware food producers and strengthen the state's food supply chain. They also obtained over $3 million in funding from USDA to help local and underserved producers maintain and improve the resiliency of the state's food and agricultural supply. And by 2020, the council's success in promoting nutrition through data analysis and improving healthy food access earned them the Lieutenant Governor's Challenge Wellness Leadership Award. That program also helped us through COVID find where our food deserts were and where people really and truly were in dire need of food assistance during the COVID outbreak. Not everything has been easy. Reminds me of farming. Not everything's easy, as we heard from our panel discussion. Not everything's easy every day on the farm. Along with my staff and my key stakeholders, we've worked hard to minimize impacts on Delaware's producers and agribusinesses. Through COVID, we worked day and night to navigate the issues that were impacting our agricultural industry. And for the first time in many years, we saw Delawareans seeking food directly from the source, which was huge. As soon as we seemed to clear the pandemic, highly pathogenic avian influenza hit North America with a vengeance. Never have we experienced an animal health emergency of this scale in the United States history. In 2022, Delaware was the 5th state to experience high-path avian influenza in a commercial operation. We were also the first state to have over 1 million birds impacted. Again, the spread of virus was quickly stopped with only 3 commercial operations in Delaware impacted. But again, that was because of the cooperation between the 3 states and USDA, APHIS, and all of the integrators. Protecting agriculture ensures that we have an industry 25, 50, and 100 years from now to feed our families. An industry for all of you to participate in. Access to financing, as we heard from our panel discussion, is a barrier to ensure that young and beginning farmers can succeed. We have reinvented the DRIP program using the funding from the Delaware Economic Development Authority and the Division of Small Businesses to help farmers and aquaculture producers purchase the equipment that they need to get started or expand their operation by developing the Delaware Agricultural Financing Program, which we just started in the last 2 months. Another challenge for agriculture is that more people are moving into the state, and some areas are shifting to from rural to suburban communities. In 2024, the department partnered with a nonprofit to launch the Delaware Agricultural Mediation Program with the support of USDA funding to provide low-cost mediation programs with the support of USDA to help farmers with legal conflicts, neighbor disputes, which are happening more and more every day as we have more and more people to the state of Delaware that don't understand agriculture and what we do and how we do it, as well as family inheritance concerns and so much more. So that mediation program is available to all of our producers out there. Finally, in 2024, working with the Delaware Farm Bureau, we saw Governor Carney sign legislation into law to protect agriculture and help producers, including crop insurance assistance program and the dairy margin subsidies program. Sometimes you get something started, but it takes a while to see the long-term impact. I lost my page. They sort of stuck together. In the early years of the Carney administration, my team conducted research involving consumer awareness of Delaware specialty crops and brand studies that ultimately led to the creation of the Delaware Grown brand. Because Delaware producers and retail businesses have asked the department to help expand the brand to gain access to additional markets, the department has secured the funding to take on this project. And right now, you'll see in some of the stores and some of the packaging that our producers are using a nice big blue label that says Delaware Grown on it. And a lot more of our producers are using that now because we have consumers that want to make sure that the products that they're buying, number one, are locally grown, that are healthy, and they know that they're going to be better products. The second major project, USDA's Resilient Food System Infrastructure Program, aims to strengthen the middle of the supply chain, and Delaware has received over $2 million in funding to improve the infrastructure and provide the equipment that those working in this space needs to accept. I believe both of these programs will positively impact the economic development of the state's agricultural industry. And that one is really important for our small and mid-sized growers who don't have access to what they need to expand their businesses. When you're working day in and day out with the people who care and want to see agriculture and our producers prosper, we're willing to step up for what is right. When you're willing to do that, ladies and gentlemen, there are a lot of great things that can happen. But I've found these past few months as I prepare to go back to the farm to enjoy some time with my family and travel across this beautiful country to visit friends. It takes time to reflect on all the successes that have come to light. And I want to thank each and every one of you for all of your support for over the past few years. I especially want to thank Delaware State University for all of the great work that they're doing out there as well. When you look at this farm and you look at the research that's being done here, especially for small and mid-sized producers, for especially crop producers, ladies and gentlemen, the work that's being done here is extremely important, as well as the great education that you're all receiving at Delaware State University. So again, I want to thank the university for all of the great work that they've done, and I want to thank them for all of the support that they have given me over the last few years. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, in another 69 days, you'll have a new secretary. I'm going to be retiring back to the farm, but I wish all of you, all of our students out there, the best of luck. There is a great future in agriculture for each and every one of you. So thank you.